From the beginning of time to present day, both on the American and Canadian sides, there are many interesting facts that most people don't know about Niagara Falls. For example, in the early days, Niagara Falls was known as the Thunder of the Niagara. The roar of the falls could be heard 16 kilometers away. Today, you can still hear the falls from 11 kilometers away. And it is said that the noise of the falls can be heard above the noise of a jumbo jet taking off. The Maid of the Mist, which began operating in 1865, is one of the oldest continuously operated tourist attractions in North America. In fact, during the 19th century, it was considered a must-see destination for wealthy Americans traveling through Canada. On the Canadian side, the falls were first lit up on New Year's Eve 1925 with the installation of 16 100-watt bulbs placed around the Horseshoe Falls. This was done without permission from the U.S. government because back then the falls were considered an international border. Because of this, the falls were only illuminated on special occasions until the Peace Arch was built in 1926. And speaking of illumination, did you know that the falls are illuminated at night thanks to 16,175-watt floodlights? It takes approximately 30,000 kilowatts of electricity to light up the falls. But don't worry, it doesn't cost the taxpayers anything. The power needed comes from the Niagara Falls power station on the Canadian side. In fact, the falls generate 1,600 megawatts of power every year. This is enough power to supply electricity to 1 million homes. And fun fact, all the power generated from the falls goes directly to the province of Ontario. None of it goes to New York State. In addition to the power plant, there are a number of tourist attractions near the falls that help bring in millions of visitors every year. Did you know that on the American side there are 4 main attractions? These include the Observation Tower, the Cave of the Winds, the Whirlpool Jet Boat, and the Maid of the Mist. On the Canadian side, there are 5 main attractions: Journey Behind the Falls, the Whirlpool Rapids, White Water Walk, the Hornblower Niagara Cruise, and of course, the Observation Tower and the Falls. Speaking of the Observation Tower, did you know that there are 2 observation towers? One is located in the United States and the other is located in Canada. Both were built in the early 1900s. The American Observation Tower opened in 1905 and the Canadian Observation Tower opened in 1916. Even though the Canadian Tower opened first, the American Tower is actually taller. The American Tower stands at 265 feet or 80 meters tall, while the Canadian Tower stands at 125 feet or 38 meters tall. But what about the people who have gone over the falls? The first person to go over the falls was a 16-year-old girl named Eva Lynn from Niagara, New York. She went over the falls in a barrel on September 16, 1916. The second person to go over the falls was a man named John D. Docgill. He went over the falls on June 19, 1922. And the third person to go over the falls was a woman named Mary O'Brien. She went over the falls in a barrel on July 16, 1931. Since then, no one has been allowed to go over the falls. And actually, a law was passed in 2016 that made it illegal to attempt to go over the falls. But wait, there's more. You might be wondering how some of these people survived going over the falls. Well, you have to remember that not all of them went over the falls from the top. For example, Eva Lynn went over the falls from a height of only 46 meters. In addition, all 3 of these people wore special suits that protected their body with leather and rubber. Now it's your turn to go over the falls. Well, maybe not literally. Tell us in the comments below what you would do if you were in Niagara Falls. And hey! Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing videos.